The destiny of this child is to be born old and rejuvenate with time. His life will be an adventure full of challenges and dilemmas, such as choosing between the love of his life and his happiness. Daisy, an elderly woman who is about to die in the hospital, is accompanied by her daughter Caroline. Daisy claims to be ready to enjoy eternal rest, but she must do something first. She tells her daughter a memory first. During World War I, the city intended to open a train station and had hired the best clockmaker in the area, Mr. Gatu, who was blind, to build an impressive clock. However, Gatu had a son who was drafted into the army, and while working on the clock, he received the news that he had died on the battlefield. Heartbroken, Gatu continued to work on his clock until its completion. On the day of the inauguration, it attracted a crowd, including the president. However, to everyone's amazement, the clock's hands advanced in the opposite direction. Gatu revealed that he did this intentionally, hoping that turning back time might bring back the young men who lost their lives in the war, allowing them to live full lives. Perhaps even his son could return home. After this, no one saw Mr. Gatu again. The memory ends, and Caroline tells her mother that she hopes she has not disappointed her, as she feels she has not accomplished much with her life. The old woman replies that she could never disappoint her and then asks her to take a diary from her suitcase and read it to her. The young woman begins to read it and notices that the author is Benjamin Button, and this is his story. His life begins when World War I ends. Thomas nervously runs home, where he finds his wife dying. After giving birth, his wife makes him promise to give love and affection to his son. After this, Thomas dies. He brings the cradle close to her but almost vomits. Seeing the baby, he carries him perplexed and runs out of the house to a lake, where he thinks of leaving him to drown, but he takes pity and chooses to leave him on the stairs of an old people's home, where seconds later 2 employees come out and notice the infant. When they uncover the cloth, they see the strangest baby they have ever seen. Queenie takes pity on him and takes him inside the house. She looks at him and says, "You are ugly with an old casserole dish, but you are a creature of God." He then takes him to see the doctor, who diagnoses severe arthritis in his bones, blindness from cataracts, deafness and ossification of his hands and feet, and ailments as if he were an 80-year-old adult. The doctor assures Queenie that he does not have long to live. Queenie feels sorry for him, so she decides to keep him for the rest of his life and names him Benjamin. Queenie highlights the fundamental understanding of the dignity and intrinsic worth of every human being. This act resonates with a deeper sense of humanity that goes beyond outward appearances and embraces the idea that every life deserves to be valued and respected. Benjamin is different. He was born old, so he is raised in the shelter with the other adults, believing that he is not a child but an old man. But he is a playful, restless old man, very curious about the world. The shelter was a great place to grow up. Benjamin witnesses people come and go, as he wonders why death has not yet oppositely taken him, like his watch. As the years go by, he gets younger and younger. One day, Benjamin meets a pygmy man who takes him for a walk in a park. With a playful attitude, he tells him that he was put to live with the monkeys in a zoo in Philadelphia, and after leaving there, he has been wandering the country. Benjamin asks him if he is alone, and the African replies that when you are different, you are alone for a long time. This phrase will be an omen for Benjamin. The walk ends because the pygmy man has an appointment and leaves Benjamin to go back alone, walking on crutches, arriving home at night. Kenny finds him very worried, but for him, this simple thing was the best day of his life. On Sundays, the families of the elderly would come to visit, and on one Thanksgiving Sunday, Benjamin would meet the person who would change his life forever. One of the old ladies introduces him to her granddaughter Daisy, an adorable blue-eyed girl, and Benjamin instantly falls in love. As they eat lunch, Queenie announces that God has heard their prayers. Benjamin doesn't understand what this means, and a confident and playful Daisy replies, "Your mother is having a baby." One night, Benjamin and Daisy light a candle under a bed in the basement and reveal secrets to each other. Benjamin admits that he is not as old as he looks. Daisy replies that he's different from everyone she's ever known, and that Daisy's grandmother catches them and scolds them harshly. Queenie hears the yelling and goes out to comfort Benjamin, who asks her what's wrong with him, and she replies that God hasn't told them yet. Daisy leaves and Queenie's baby is born, and things change for Benjamin. He stops receiving attention from his mother, and the pygmy man says goodbye to him because he will continue to wander, though he is saddened. Benjamin is used to goodbyes by now. He spends a lot of time alone until a new lady arrives. who teaches him to play the piano. As time goes by, Benjamin gets younger and notices more changes in his body. He grows hair on many sides and feels quite well. One day he accompanies another old man to a port to look at ships. A captain is looking for someone to replace one of his sailors who is absent, and Benjamin enthusiastically offers to take his place. He is hired and on the job. He is very happy. He gets paid for something he would have done for free. There he befriends Captain Mike, who discovers that Benjamin is a virgin. So he takes him to a brothel, where despite his peculiar appearance, a woman accepts him and is amazed at his youthful potency, while Benjamin, he walks back home. A gentleman named Thomas Button stops him and invites him into his car. The two head to a bar and talk about Benjamin's condition. He says he was born old. Thomas replies that he is sorry, but Benjamin retorts that there is nothing wrong with old age. Benjamin, who has learned much from the wisdom and serenity of old age. For him, old age is not a farewell, but just another stage in the journey of life with its melodies. Later, Thomas tells him that he was married and his wife died in childbirth. Thomas then takes Benjamin home and asks if he can visit him from time to time, to which the old young man agrees. Another Thanksgiving arrives, and along with it, another visit from DC. Benjamin takes the opportunity to invite her for a ride on his boat, and their connection intensifies. Later, Benjamin's elderly pianist friend, while cutting his hair, is surprised because he has more hair. Benjamin reveals to her that he suspects that, unlike the others, he is getting younger. His friend replies that if so, she would feel sorry for him because she would see all her loved ones die. Days later, this woman who taught Benjamin how to play the piano and what it meant to miss someone dies while being raised with elders. Benjamin grew up with death, so he internalized the pain of loss as simply part of life. Thus, each time he loses someone, he can accept it with maturity and move on. Thus, the film does not suggest that the proper response to loss is acceptance and not denial. Benjamin then realizes that his life is going differently than everyone else's, and at 17 years old he decides to pack his bag and say goodbye to the shelter. Daisy asks him where he is going, to which he replies that to the sea, and promises to write to her from wherever he lands. His life at sea is long and agonizing, but Daisy makes sure to answer all his letters. In one of them, the young woman tells him that she has advanced in her career as a ballet dancer. Then, in one of the disembarking cities, Benjamin stays in a hotel where he meets Elizabeth Abbott and her husband Walter. In that place, the days are long and the nights are even longer. One night, Benjamin finds it hard to sleep, so he goes down to the hotel lobby. There, he meets Elizabeth and the two strike up a friendship, talking about their lives until dawn. They have such a good time that they continue to do so countless nights. Benjamin ends up falling in love with the married woman and confesses it to Daisy in a letter, breaking her heart. During another evening, Elizabeth tells Benjamin that at the age of 19, she tried to be the first woman to swim across the English Channel. But there was such a strong current that day that 3 kilometers from the finish line she could no longer continue. Everyone asked her if she would try again, and she said yes, but she never tried or did anything with her life after that. Upon hearing this, Benjamin takes her by the hand and she responds by kissing him. This was the first time a woman kissed him. Another night, Benjamin comes down dressed in a suit and ends the evening by having his first night of passion. Their romance continues and each encounter is new and different. One night, Benjamin goes down to the hall and finds Elizabeth gone, which leaves him broken. The romance with Elizabeth is Benjamin's first adult feeling that allows him to understand that love is not only the fusion of bodies but also the intimacy of souls. Therefore, it is not by chance that their relationship began with endless intimate conversations and not in a carnal way. Then Benjamin learns that the United States entered World War II and his crew has been requested to support. And on the other hand, this encounter with Benjamin was for Elizabeth a touch of youth and vitality that we will soon learn how it will impact her life. One night, the war is out there at sea and the boat is hit by enemy bullets, ending the life of Captain Mike and other crew members. Benjamin survives and says goodbye to his friends who died, people who had dreams of their own. Later, at 26 years of age, Benjamin returns to the Queen's Refuge and is immensely happy to see him. And they embrace. Benjamin reflects on how curious it is to come home. It looks the same, smells the same, feels the same. What changed was you. One morning, Daisy visits the shelter. Daisy is all grown up and upon seeing her, Benjamin can't help but think she's the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. One night they go out together to tell each other about their lives. They have dinner at a restaurant and then go to a kiosk where Daisy dances and ends up kissing Benjamin. She tries to seduce him to spend the night together, but Benjamin turns her down, which causes Daisy to return home disappointed. Days pass, and as everyone ages, Benjamin grows younger, all alone. On another night, an old friend, Thomas Button, stops by the inn and takes Benjamin to dinner at the restaurant. He confesses to him that he is ill and has little time left to live. He has no family and is a withdrawn man, so he would like to spend more time with him. After dinner, Thomas takes him to see his button factory, a family business that has been in business for 124 years, and there he reveals to Benjamin that he is his son. He tells her what happened and apologizes for abandoning him. He then shows him an old photo to introduce him to his mother Caroline and tells her that he plans to leave her everything he has. Benjamin leaves the house confused and hurt, but later returns to take Thomas on a trip to the lake. Father and son sit on the dock and Benjamin reflects the following. As Thomas lets go of his life, you can get mad dog about how it all turned out. You can curse the goddesses of luck, but when the end comes, you have to accept it. Shortly thereafter, Thomas dies. Days later, Benjamin goes on a surprise trip to New York to see Daisy dance and once again watches her mesmerized. At the end of the play, he brings flowers to her dressing room and Daisy, surprised to see him, invites him to a party with the other dancers. Benjamin accepts, but when he arrives, he becomes jealous when he sees Daisy with another man and decides to leave. Daisy chases after him and Benjamin apologizes for not calling. He thought about arriving and making her fall in love with him. He then asks her if she loves her boyfriend, and she replies that she thinks she does. Without further ado, they say goodbye. Daisy continues to rack up success in her career, but she never stops thinking about Benjamin. The latter, on the other hand, is getting younger and spends his time traveling by motorcycle and working at the shelter. But one day he receives a sad letter that directs him to a hospital in Paris. Daisy had been hit by a cab, crushing her leg and leaving her with multiple injuries. She would never dance again. Benjamin tells her he wants to take the house with him. He wants to take care of her, but Daisy asks him to stay out of her life. The man is devastated and deals with the agony by having one-night stands with different women. He then returns home and after a few years is visited by a more mature Daisy. The two embrace and end up making love that same night. They spend the next few years traveling to different places, enjoying themselves and falling more in love with each other, taking advantage of every moment, aware that nothing lasts. But they are both worried about something. He will still love her when her skin hangs, and she will still love him when he has acne. After the long trip, they get the news that Queenie died, which breaks them, but eventually they manage to turn over a new leaf. Benjamin has experience dealing with loss. Then the man wants to start having his memories with Daisy, so he sells the mansion Thomas left him and buys a duplex. Here, Benjamin spends one of the happiest times of his life. They lived on a mattress and followed no routine. They ate and slept whenever they wanted. Time passes and Daisy is sad to grow old. But then she promises Benjamin to accept aging as it is and never to feel sorry for herself again. At that moment, she realized that no one is perfect forever and found peace. Time brings us closer to death and the hands cannot stop. But at the same time, it allows us to feel and understand the value of every moment. Life has moments of happiness, no matter how old you are. There are always opportunities to enjoy existence. Later, Daisy opens her ballet school where she teaches girls to dance. At this time, Daisy is 43 and Benjamin is 49. They finally caught up, if only for a moment, and Daisy gives him the news she is pregnant in a restaurant. Benjamin confesses to her that he's afraid the baby will end up like him or that he won't be able to raise it. Besides, he doesn't want to be anyone's burden, but Daisy reassures him by promising to make things work. Benjamin then pays the bill as he sees on the TV that a woman broke the record. The oldest woman ever to cross the English Channel. It was Elizabeth. She had tried again and succeeded. Benjamin smiles. When Benjamin met Elizabeth, she was a person dissatisfied with her life and not even trying to change it. She was sure that it was too late for any change, but her encounter with Benjamin forced her to reconsider her life and find new sources of light in it. Benjamin becomes a source of inspiration, illuminating the dark areas of Elizabeth's existence. His presence and possibly his own story of overcoming and perseverance offer Elizabeth a renewed vision of the possibilities for change, even when she is tempted to think it is too late. Elizabeth understood this and opened herself to her new possibilities. While she could no longer be the youngest woman to swim the English Channel, she could be the oldest woman to do so. And so she was. 9 months later, Daisy gives birth to a perfectly healthy baby girl and is named after Benjamin's birth mother, Caroline. Upon reading this, Caroline is upset as she didn't know Benjamin was her father, but she continues to read the pages. Ahora says, as Caroline grew older, Benjamin realized that his daughter needed a real father and not a playmate, so Benjamin, although he loved his wife and daughter, decides to leave them all his inheritance and abandons them to live according to the direction his condition takes him. Caroline finds it hard to keep reading, but she discovers that her father sent her letters throughout her life, on her birthdays, on her first day of school, and in her teenage years. He made it clear to her that he wished he could have been her father. He left her a beautiful letter in which he wrote, "I will tell you that it is never too late, or in my case too early to be who you want to be. There is no time limit. Start whenever you want. You can change or stay the same. This has no rules. We can either take advantage of it or waste it. I hope you take advantage of it. I hope you see things that amaze you. I hope you feel things you've never felt before. I hope you meet people with a different point of view. I hope you live a life you're proud of. And if you find you're not, I hope you have the strength to start over again." Benjamin Kamensonke spends the next few years traveling to different places, until one day, looking like a teenager, he decides to visit his daughter. Daisy introduces her daughter Caroline to Benjamin, a man she knew as a child. At that moment, Robert comes out and Benjamin discovers that Daisy married him and has been a fabulous father to Caroline. Shaken by the reunion, Benjamin and Daisy spend their last passionate night together in a hotel. Years pass without seeing each other until Daisy receives a phone call. She arrives at the nursing home where a childcare worker hands her Benjamin's diary and tells her that they found the disoriented boy. Daisy finds Benjamin playing the piano unafflicted with dementia. He is unable to recognize her. However, as time passes, the elderly Daisy takes care of him. Days pass and she watches as Benjamin forgets to walk and talk. Finally, the city government decides to replace the station clock and Benjamin's time comes to an end. The 85-year-old baby takes his last breath in the arms of the woman he loved. Before continuing, I want to thank you for watching this video and for all the support you give me. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel, give it a like and share it with your friends. This is very important to me, so you help me to continue growing and creating quality content. Also, don't forget to leave your comment and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Benjamin's story leaves us with a beautiful lesson. Life is a gift that we must make the most of, regardless of the circumstances or limitations we may have. Benjamin lives an extraordinary life, full of adventures, love and learning. Despite his condition of being born old and getting younger with time, he does not let himself be overcome by fear, loneliness or rejection, but seeks his happiness and purpose in the world. Love is what gives meaning to life and what helps us overcome difficulties. Benjamin finds in Daisy the love of his life, a woman who accepts him and accompanies him on his unique journey. Although their relationship has ups and downs and moments of separation, they never stop loving and supporting each other. Their love is so strong that it transcends time and age. Time is relative and what matters is how we live it. Benjamin experiences time differently than others, but that doesn't stop him from enjoying every moment and every stage of his life. He learns to adapt to change and to accept what he cannot control. He also respects the time of others and lets them go when necessary. Benjamin teaches us that time is an illusion and that what counts is the present.